So today we're basically time traveling. We've got this Nostalgia-AI live report, and we're doing a deep dive into just 1 month, September 1980.
Right.
And the mission here is to really figure out what the world felt like. You know, what was the actual texture of that moment right as the 80s were starting to kick off?
It's such a fascinating snapshot. I mean, when you look through these transcripts, you realize September 1980 wasn't just another page on the calendar. It was like a border crossing.
A border crossing. How so?
Well, you have all these cultural things from the 70s that are finally on their way out, and then you see this kind of neon future just starting to boot up.
Okay, let's start with the economics of fun, because one detail jumped out at me immediately.
Let me guess. The $5?
$5 for a movie ticket and popcorn.
Hard to imagine, right? I mean, even with inflation, entertainment was just so much more accessible. But look at what was actually playing. The report says Airplane was just massive at that moment.
Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. Exactly. Iconic. But here's the deeper thing the report suggests. Airplane. It wasn't just a funny movie. It was basically the tombstone for the entire 1970s disaster genre. It made fun of all those serious airport movies so perfectly that Hollywood literally couldn't make them anymore.
So it was like a cultural reset button. But
Yeah.
the sources also say that The Empire Strikes Back was still lingering in theaters.
Right, so you have this amazing overlap, the peak of cynical spoof comedy right next to the peak of this really earnest space opera. People were still just obsessing over that Darth Vader reveal.
What a month for movies.
A heavy hitter month for sure.
Speaking of heavy hitters, let's talk about the soundscape. The report says Diana Ross was just everywhere.
Oh yeah, grocery stores, car radios, upside down.
Which kind of shows that disco wasn't totally dead yet.
Not dead, just evolving. But the real insight in the transcript, I think, is about Queen.
Oh.
Another One Bites the Dust was just starting to climb the charts.
I can't deny that bassline.
You can't.
Yeah.
And the report points out that it's basically a fusion track. It's a rock band doing disco. And it bridged this huge gap between the two, warring musical tribes of the late 70s.
And how are people listening? The report mentions the hardware.
The pencil rewind.
Right.
Exactly. Cassette tapes were getting a serious workout. We were moving into this era where your music was tangible,
Yeah.
mechanical. You had to physically mess with your media.
That physical interaction, it kind of extends to the living room, too. The report spends a ton of time on Dallas.
You absolutely cannot talk about 1980 without Who Shot JR. It highlights the sheer power of the monoculture.
We hear that term a lot, but what did it actually look like in September 1980?
It meant that almost everyone you knew, your boss, your neighbor, your family, was watching the exact same mystery unfold at the exact same time.
No streaming, no binge watching.
None. If you missed it, you were just out of the conversation the next day. The report actually mirrors that feeling with the Philadelphia Phillies pennant race.
With Mike Schmidt on a tear, trying to beat the Expos.
Yeah, whether it was a soap opera or a baseball game, the stakes felt incredibly high because the experience was collective. You were feeling that tension with everyone else.
But then the report pivots to something that almost feels like the opposite of that, the technology, specifically the Walkman.
This might be the most important piece in the whole report. It describes seeing a jogger with a Sony Walkman as, and I'm quoting straight up sci-fi stuff.
Just because it was portable.
Because it's private. Before the Walkman, music was almost always a shared thing. A jukebox, a home stereo, a boombox on the street. The Walkman was the first time you could put a personal soundtrack over the public world. It was really the birth of the mobile bubble we all live in now.
And on the other end of the tech spectrum, you have the Rubik's Cube.
Oh yeah, low tech, but high frustration. The report mentions a cousin just staring at one for 3 days straight. It was like the fidget spinner of its day, but, it required logic.
Yeah.
It really fits this theme of optimistic complexity of the early 80s.
So if you put it all together, the death of disaster movies, the birth of personal audio, the collective TV obsession, what's the headline for September 1980?
I'd say it's the threshold. That crisp autumn air mentioned in the report, it wasn't just the weather. It was a mood.
Okay.
The gloom of the 70s was finally lifting. People were literally putting on their aviator sunglasses and looking toward a faster, more technological decade. They were ready.
It's just wild to think a cassette player represented that brave new world.
It really puts our current technology into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And that leads us to our final thought for you to take away. If a portable tape player seemed like sci-fi magic in 1980, What device are you holding right now that will look just hilariously clunky to someone listening to a deep dive in, say, 2060?
Something to think about.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.